Hey everybody, this is Stelly Afti with Koza, and today we're going to talk about the minimal viable pitch. So here's the deal, 99% of all startup pitches that I hear suck. The main reason why they suck is because they follow a flawed formula. They want to start at the top, the grand vision, where they are going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now, and they want to work their way back to today's reality. That's the wrong journey to take because I cannot follow you on that journey. The right formula is to go bottom up, to start today with what you have right now and to add layers and steps to it until you arrive at the grand vision of where you're going to go tomorrow. So I'll give you a simple example, right? Let's say you were Google. Let's say you were Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and you launched the search engine Google, and 2 months later I meet you at a party and I ask you, hey, what is your startup doing? Here is how most startup founders today would pitch me. They would go, oh, I'm glad you're asking, Stelly. What we're doing is very simple. We're trying to capture the world's information, organize it, and make it universally accessible to everybody. What? What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Think about this. When you hear somebody say, well, we're organizing the world's information and we capture the world's information, we're organizing it, we make it universally accessible, this creates zero images in your mind. You don't know what that means. That could mean a million fucking different things. You have no idea. What is this? Collecting newspapers and books and building a new library that is free for all people? Like, what the fuck? This could be a million different things. And I have no idea what it is. And if I don't know what it is, I can't create an image. I cannot imagine what it is. If I can't imagine what it is, now I'm confused. I'm trying to search for it. Well, my thinking is, yeah, but what the fuck is this? Now, as you continue talking, you've already lost me. I don't know what it is, dude. Right? This is how most startup pitches go. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say that you are building a better electric bicycle, right? And I ask you, hey, what is your startup doing? And you go, well, what we're doing is revolutionizing the way the inner city moves. We're going to empower young professionals to interactively and socially get from point A to point B in a way that's socially and ecologically more healthy for our planet and better for their pocket as well as faster so that people can get to their work and back home in the most efficient way possible. Again, if that's your answer, my question at this point is, what the fuck is it though? What is it? Okay, so you're helping people to move. What is it? Is it a skateboard? Is it a bicycle? Is it a motorcycle? Is it a car? Is it an airplane, a helicopter? Is it a drone? Is it a car sharing ride? Is it a fucking train app? What is it? I don't know. And this is how I feel about 99% of the time when startup founders pitch me. I ask them, what is it you do? And they give me an answer that's like 5 paragraphs long and still hasn't addressed the most fundamental and the simplest question, which is, what the fuck is it? So here's what I want you to do, and this is a formula I'm going to teach you today. I want you to start bottom up, and I want you to start, when you create a minimal viable pitch, your first pitch, I want you to start at the most fundamental and the simplest possible level. Just break it down for me very, very simply, and allow me to follow you along. So when I ask you what you do, just tell me what it is today and tell me the most concrete, least sexy, no buzzwords, no nothing. Just give it to me raw and straight. So simple that a 5-year-old could follow you along. If I was Sergey Brin and you asked me, hey, what is Google doing? What's your startup all about? My answer would be, well, it's very simple. We are a website. When you go on that website, there's a text box, nothing else. You can type into that text box any number of words or a question, and we will go and search the entire internet and bring back to you the most relevant websites that have the answer to your question or have the most information about those words that you typed in, the things you're interested in. That's it. We're a website with a fucking text box. You type in words, and we'll get you a list of websites back that are the most relevant to what you're looking for. Just simple as fucking that. Do you now know what I'm doing? Can you imagine? Can you follow along? Yes, you can, right? You're like, okay, I see a website text box, search engine. Yeah, I type in some words and brings me a list of websites that are relevant. Okay, now what's the next logical question that the listener has? Here's how I want you to think about this. I want you to think about your pitch like a product. And you need to design a good user experience. Your pitch needs UI and UX. It doesn't just need nice design in terms of your slides, it needs perfect UX, user experience. When I listen, I'm your user, and I'm thinking, okay, I get it. It's a website, a text box, type in some words, it gives me a list of results. Now, the next logical question in the user experience is I'm asking myself, why is this better than what exists right now? Why is this valuable to me? So now you have to demonstrate value. There you go. I need to practice this a little bit. This is the second step, demonstrate value. Okay, so now that we established, explain what you do, we've established what it is. Now we talk about how it is valuable, what problem it solves. So I could say, if I was Sergey Brin, there's other sites out there today that already do this because the internet is so big, it's impossible for you to search and find all the great sites. So there's search engines out there. The problem is that many of these search engines, when you type in things, a question or a query of words, it doesn't get you good results. It gets you websites that don't answer your question or websites that are very, very little related to what you were really looking for. And that creates a lot of issues. The issues is that you have to search many, many times and might still not find what you're looking for. And the reason why that is because searching the entire internet and finding the most relevant sites is very, very fucking hard. Have you ever experienced that, right? So people that were using search engines back in the day when Google was just launching, they experienced that problem. Most search engines sucked and directories sucked. They were not that great. So you would go, okay, now as a user, I go, okay, I know what it is and I know what they claim the value is of it. They claim they're doing a better job, they're more relevant, they're faster. But now, is it really true? But is it really true? Right? That's the next question that the listener has. All right, you're saying that you're more valuable than other solutions because of X, Y, Z, but is it really true? Can I really trust you? Are you really credible? So the third step here is you need to create credibility. Right? Now that you've told me what it is you do, you explain what you do, and you demonstrated the value, you explained to me, here's how it's valuable. Now you need to establish credibility. I need to start believing you. Now that I know what you're saying, what it is you do and why it's valuable, now I need to believe you. And here's how Google might have done it, right? Back in the day, I'm Sergey Brin, and I can say, we're two Stanford students. We've developed an algorithm together with a professor that's very reputable and very, a world expert in this. And we've launched the search engine on campus. And every day, through word of mouth, we're adding another 1,000 students that are using our search engine for hours and hours every single day and have switched from competitor X to us because the students, our users and professors are telling us that we're getting them better results. We're finding them better websites online when they're looking for and when they're querying and typing in some searches, right? That's very powerful credibility, right? We're students at a really reputable university, Stanford. There's a professor involved, and our users, who are power users, who are experts, students, know the internet, they do a ton of research, they were very kind of tastemakers and influencers and early adopters in this type of technology. They are all switching to us. They're using us multiple times a day, and they're telling all their friends about us. That's the most powerful type of credibility, is user traction, revenue traction, customer traction, right? But using a brand that's really reputable, like Stanford University, an individual of big reputation, right? An expert, domain expert, like a professor. You could add other layers of credibility to this. Press, hey, we've been covered on CNN and on Times Magazine and whatever. Like having all these credible news outlets that report on you. This is another way of creating credibility. Investment in money, right? We've got these big time investors. We just got 10 million in investment. That shows and creates credibility. Any way you can, I don't really care how, but you need to find a way to create credibility. I know for many of you, this might be really a tough step, right? Because you're not fucking Stanford students with a Stanford professor involved and you already have like explosive growth with your users. I don't care. Find some other way to create credibility. It doesn't really matter what, but do whatever you can to now demonstrate and to convince me that what you said you do and how you said it creates value is actually true. I believe you. I keep listening to you because I go, oh shit, yeah, those are Stanford. On Stanford campus, this is the #1 search engine, and there's a professor involved, and they just got money from investors. All these things will make me go, oh, maybe this is really true. Maybe these guys are really onto something, right? So now that we explain what we do, we demonstrated value, we created credibility, now usually in a sales process, you would want to build some understanding on who the customer is or the prospect or the end user, and build some rapport. So you would want to ask a bunch of questions now about them. You've told them what you do, how it creates value, and why it's credible. And now you want to start asking questions to the listener, right? A pitch is not all about you talking, right? It's a two-way exchange. So you've given them a little bit, and now start asking them questions. Have you ever used a search engine? What searches do you do today? Have you had any trouble with finding the right information online? Whatever it is, right? This is a search engine example. I'm a bigger expert in the B2B world where, you might ask about their workflow, the tools they're using, the problems they have, the money and time they're spending on things. You start building rapport because you ask the right questions and you listen and you care. And you go really deep. Try to understand them. Don't just stay at the surface level. Go really deep and try to fully qualify the prospect, the person you're interacting with, and truly understand who they are and what their use cases are and what their problems are. And once you're at that point, usually, if it's the right fit, if what you do matches what they need, you can just go, hey, I think you should get this, right? I think this could be a good fit. And now typically they'll have some objections, right? Oh, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we're using something else, I'm not sure if it's worth it. Whatever it is, people will have objections. People will have reasons why they don't want to change their behavior. And your job is to manage those objections at this point. And then once you've managed them and addressed the objections, then you ask for the close. You say, hey, what would it take for you to become a customer of ours? What would it take for you to switch to our search engine? Whatever the fuck it is you do, you ask for the close. No matter what they say, if they say no, it's not the end, it's the beginning. Another chance for you to learn, another chance for you to go, wow, everything you told me, to me, seems like a perfect match. So you saying no right now means I've missed some critical information. What am I missing? Help me out here. What am I missing? Why are you not ready to buy? Or they might just go, you know what? Yes, it does make perfect sense. We should buy this software. This should be for us. And then you fucking go for the close and you get their money and you get the business. But these are the steps. It's very, very simple. You start always as simple as possible. People think it needs to be fancy. Explain what it is you do. Demonstrate value, create credibility. If you want, you can talk a little bit about your vision, a sentence or two, this could become really big because X, Y, and Z. And now you turn it around and you ask them a lot of questions. You try to understand the person next to you. You try to get feedback, honest insights from them and build some rapport with them. You manage some of their objections, why from the situation they're in right now, from today, they're not going to switch immediately tomorrow. What is in the way? What are the hurdles for them to buy or to use your product or your service? And then you go for the close and you start negotiating. You get their money, you get their business, you get their time, energy, you get their usage. It's as simple as that. Follow this bottom-up approach. And because you take these tiny steps from tell me what it is today, to demonstrating value, to creating credibility, to building understanding, to managing my objections, to then going for the close, I can follow along. And the user experience is going to be great for the person listening to you. They're going to be able to follow along. They're going to be able to understand you. They're going to be feeling more comfortable with you. They start believing in you and what you say. And before they realize it, they will want to be in business. They will want to be a user and a customer of yours. All right, that's it. I hope that this is hopefully going to fix a bunch of screwed up pitches out there. I want your pitches to be great. I want them to be successful. I want you to communicate in a way that affects and impacts the listeners. So follow this formula and I guarantee you your pitches are going to be a lot more successful. It doesn't matter what the context is. Make sure, if you haven't already, to go to blog.close.io and subscribe to our blog twice a week. Highly tactical and strategic and practical advice for founders, for startups, for people in sales. And if you have any more questions or comments, shoot me an email, stelly@close.io. Always happy to hear from you. Now, let's go and get them.